Hi, I'm Leanne. I'm a lightworker and a mother to 3 special girls. I strive to continue learning, growing, and to collect new skills. I'm a psychic medium, Reiki master teacher, and Akashic record reader and energy healer. I am so excited to share what I've learned and what I'm going to learn and the ups and downs of life. Thank you for joining me on my journey. Welcome to Life of a Lightworker podcast.
Hello, thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to be pulling a card from the Moonology Manifestation Oracle deck. And my intention, as always, is what do you need to hear? What do you need to know about this week? And the card I pulled is Open Up to Change, the new moon in Aquarius. Reading from the book. Big changes are forecast, but you need to let events unfold with as little steering as possible from you. Sometimes you just need to take a bit of space from the person or situation. If you know you've been too emotional about someone or something, this card offers you the chance to cool things down. A rational, even steady, aloof assessment of your current circumstances is called for. Allow for things to develop. Try to think of your situation from a different angle. And I'm going to read all the different ones in this card. So, the manifesting focus. This card is an especially good sign for matters related to friends, networks, or wishes come true, science, tech, or online dating. Manifesting mindset. Be yourself. Independence doesn't have to mean loneliness. A group of people rather than one person may be the ones to help you. Manifesting tips for detachment. Call in Archangel Uriel, the most cerebral archangel. Call in energy from the planet Uranus, which guides the sign of Aquarius and is all about independence and revolution. The manifestation affirmation is, there is only one me, it's safe to be me, and I love me. When I feel into this card, one of the best ways we can open ourselves up to change is to shake up our routine. Shake up the way we normally do things. Enter our day, enter the moment from a slightly different angle. It's easier for change and for what's meant to come in when it has, when things are moving, and when we have a very stagnant, very strict routine of how we do things all the time. We're kind of falling into that pattern. It becomes very rigid, and it's like shown to me as like a really hard stone. And when we are changing the routine, that stone gets broken up into little pebbles, and it's easier for the energy of the universe to flow through the pebbles than to go through that hard stone. And our attempt, what we're asked to do, is to make it more easeful for the universe to help us, more easeful for our higher selves to guide us. And yeah, that's our part. That's our role. It's not to dictate how necessarily the energy flows through or the pace or exactly what comes, but to not stop it, to make it as easy as possible, because your higher self, as I've said this before, wants the same things as you. It's not the same as, like, say, a parent telling a child they have to do certain things a certain way, or they can't, or they're not allowed to do certain things. This is completely different. This is you telling yourself, but one of you knows more, can see more, can understand more, and the other one is a little more closed. Isn't as tall, doesn't have the view. Maybe they're wearing sunglasses, it's darker. They're not able to see. So it makes more sense to allow the version of you that can see, that has the perspective, to guide. So if you had 2 friends walking and one had didn't have as good eyesight, they would rely on the one friend with really good eyesight to look out for danger, to look out for maybe a rock that they may trip on. That only makes sense. So maybe that perspective will make it easier to lean into your higher self and allow your higher self to do the work. Because we're fighting our higher selves so often. And we do it mindlessly because we're so conditioned. And we get so used to doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And it takes a lot more work for our higher selves to break through that pattern. And usually the way they do that is with a huge change or upset in your life. And then we become like all of a sudden, maybe you get fired. Maybe you have a big fight. Maybe you break up with somebody. Maybe there's just something that's a huge event. And that happens because we're closed off. Our higher self needs to break through that wall. If we have more of a relaxed, easy to move through wall, then our higher self doesn't need to bring these big events into our life. And therefore, we have a lot more peaceful life. Life is a lot more easy for us when we make it easy for our higher selves. So, as the little guy with the smaller view, with the sunglasses that doesn't see very well, it makes sense to allow the higher self to guide you, to bring things to you, and for you to allow things to happen, even though it's different, it's a bit of a change, and all these things that may be uncomfortable, but that small discomfort is less uncomfortable than these big upsets, these big events that really shake us loose. And usually those big events tend to only need to happen when we are stagnant in that area. There's also lots of times where it is contracted from the soul because it's almost planned that area is stagnant so that this big event can happen, and it's fixing a karmic loop. It's completing the cycle, and that's destined and that's planned, and that's a little bit different than what I'm talking about here. But there's more than one reason why something like this could happen. This is just from the perspective of you resisting change. And so I don't want you to maybe blame yourself for the past about, oh, that big event happened because I resisted change. I shouldn't have done that, yada, yada, yada. It's an example. Oh, this happened when I resisted change. So in the future, I'm going to attempt to allow change to happen, even though it's uncomfortable, because in the past, that big event was uncomfortable. And we are attempting to move forward. And in the past, if it was a destined event, we can still use that as an example of, oh, that didn't feel good, and I don't want something like that happening again because I'm resisting. Because it can have the same feeling in your body. So we can remind ourselves that to help rationalize and move that really thinking left side of the brain and really get it to play along and want to allow the right side, the connection to higher self, the heart center to flow, to move with ease. And I feel like there's another card in here. Let's see. So a stack of about 5 cards popped out, and I was like, oh, is this one of the cards in here? And I got a yes. So I went through each card off the mic because it was taking a little while. And the card that is meant to be said is leave the past behind. And from the book, something is standing between what you want and how you can get it. That's okay. Now you know it's there. You can do something about it. You just need to be strategic. It's wonderful to do things with a childlike, carefree attitude, but drawing this card suggests that you need a proper plan as well. Leave the past behind. You may need to move through and clear criticism someone has made of you, which has somehow burned itself into your brain. You have work to do. Manifestation mix is the moon has a bright, shining energy, but a reserved pressure is piling on. Manifesting mindset. The great thing about knowing what stands between you and your goal is that you can do something about it. Manifesting magic. The crystals that work especially well for the sign of Capricorn is pyrite, gold tiger's eye, rose quartz, blue kyanite, green jade, and red jasper. Choosing one and holding it while you meditate, visualizing a shimmering, pearlescent, golden light swirling around you. Or alternatively, keep your crystal close by as you work through your situation, or use 5 or 6 to make a crystal grid. The manifestation affirmation is the only way out is through. Ooh. I feel like this card was a reminder to pick back up the idea that I had mentioned it, but I didn't elaborate it or put too much emphasis on it. And the emphasis is on changing the routine, changing your structure, and every day inviting more. Feels like it might feel like chaos. It feels like adventure, excitement. What if I'm going to do this thing over here that I've never done before? What if I'm going to do this in a different way? What if I'm going to walk in a different direction than I normally do? What if I'm going to wear clothes that I don't typically wear, but I feel I want to wear? I've just been scared to because it's not my normal image or what I'm comfortable showing to the world. Well, what if you put on those clothes that you felt excited about? It's what if. And all these things that we are doing to changing our routine are things that we want to do. Things that excite us, make us happy, or they're neutral. If they're things that feel bad in your heart, not in your head, not in your gut, but in your heart, then don't do them. Choose something else. But sometimes in the gut, it can be more of the fear of change. So I wouldn't necessarily focus on that. Focus in on your heart and not necessarily ignore the other energy centers or your body when you're feeling it. Acknowledge it and tell yourself, or ask yourself, is this a fear of change? Is this fear of something different? What is my body telling me about this decision, this choice? And focus in on your heart and see what your heart feels and how your body feels when you focus in on your heart. And I would, if these type of things are tricky for you, start small. Do things like try a different flavor of coffee. Try something you've never eaten before, if that's not too scary for you. Focus in on these little things that push you out of your comfort zone, but aren't so dysregulating. If change is very hard for you, being dysregulated, being a system of survival, having your body feel that response is not helpful for you at all. So, little things, little tiny changes. But if those little changes are fine for you, push yourself, go a little further. We are pushing yourself like 5% outside of your comfort zone. Whatever your comfort zone is right now, we're pushing it 5%. When 5% gets comfortable, push it a little bit more, and a little bit more. And we are constantly stretching ourselves. When we get to a state where we're comfortable, the walls start to build up again. We need to be a little uncomfortable all the time in order for everything to flow in, for change to happen. Change doesn't happen when we feel completely comfortable. And I would like to caveat this that you don't have to feel uncomfortable all the time, every day. But if you are typically someone who really tries to remain comfortable, keep your energy safe, keep your body safe, and really resist anything that's outside of that comfort zone, try 1 day a week where you push yourself and allow yourself and your body and your energy time to recover from that and realize, oh, I pushed myself, but I'm still safe. And you're regulated again, and then you can continue. So pushing yourself gently. We don't want to jump into the deep end if it's something that's going to shock your system. We're not going to push you further than what your body, your energy can handle at this moment. But if you're someone who likes change, embraces change, and still has these walls up, then we need to examine why these walls are up. Maybe the change is the wall. Are you using change as maybe a coping mechanism to not, as a distraction? Things always changing, you're doing things differently all the time to distract yourself. Focus in on yourself and ask yourself, do I do that? If you do, then maybe a little bit of structure will be helpful. A little bit of things that are the same so that you feel more uncomfortable with that sameness, with that structure. When everything is a little more automatic, and see where your thoughts go. See how your emotions go. Notice these things within your body. And we work with that. That's a good starting point. Everyone is so different. It's really hard to give general advice for this, but that's what it's showing me. We're taking this opportunity, taking this chance to be uncomfortable. Wherever your comfort level is, we are changing it a little bit. And if you don't know, if you're not aware of where your comfort level is, maybe take a few days or a week to focus on that. Have that be your intention. And notice, either write down or just mentally take note of where you feel comfortable, where you feel safe, and when you are outside of that, how does your body react? How do your emotions react? How do they respond to that situation? And we are making just notes, learning about yourself, of who you are right now. You can't become who you are in the future without knowing who you are now. That's bypassing a fundamental layer, a fundamental step. The future you is going to crumble if you don't have the foundation of who you are now. And it's hard to become who you want to be when you don't know what parts of yourself are really strong that you want to keep, or not say strong, things that you want to keep, and things that you want to grow in another direction. Okay, let me see if there's any last messages, and it feels pretty good. I don't feel anything else coming in. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me this week, and I'm not sure if I'll be doing these regularly every week during the summer. It'll kind of depend on life. It's going to be a little different than it typically is during the school year. So I will talk to you next time. And if you want to contact me, you can message me on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or YouTube, or on my website, spruceenergyhealing.com, and on all those social media platforms, I'm Spruce Energy Healing. Have a wonderful week. Goodbye now.